Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatyadesatarine Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Sarvashastrabdhe piyusha sarvavedaikasatphala Sarvasiddhantaratnatya Sarvalokaikodriprada Sarvabhagavata prana Srimadbhagavata Prabhu Garidhanto Ditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita Paramananda Pathaya Premavarsaksharayate Sarvada Sarvasabhyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastume Madeka Bandhumat Madguru Manmahadhana Manistarakamabhagya Madananda Namastute Asadu Sadhutadayin Atine Chachataraka Anamanta Kadachinam Premnarit Kanthayasma Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity where we will begin looking into the systematic study of Srila Prabhupada's purports from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. So today, being the first class, I have decided to go through Prabhupada's preface, maybe slightly introduction part, and then we will start with our text number 1, because it is very important for us to get tuned with the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada has worked so hard to give us Bhaktivedanta purports, and he desires all his followers should systematically study his purports. So before we enter if we can imbibe the mood and missionary activity that Srila Prabhupada has undertaken while establishing this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, that will give us better commitment for this great approach of studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in the beginning, I had told you that in my class, I expect you to bring your hard copy of Srimad Bhagavatam, like I am carrying this one, because what is happening is in my class, I will be from time to time referring to the Prabhupada's purports, and I have some slides as well, so that you can, because sometimes a lot of slides I don't want to keep. I'm just focusing on the book. Sometimes I will refer to the slide. So in any way, right now before we enter into text number 1, I am just reading from Prabhupada's book in preface. If you have the book with you, you can open the preface part. Preface. We must know the present need of human society. And what is that need? Human society is no longer bounded by geographical limits to particular countries or communities. Human society is broader than in Middle Ages. And the world tendency is toward one state or one human society. The ideals of spiritual communism, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, are based more or less on the oneness of the entire human society, nay, of the entire energy of living beings. The need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need in human society. It begins therefore with the aphorism of Vedanta philosophy, Janmadesya Jata, to establish the ideal of the common cause. So from this first paragraph, we can very well understand what Srila Prabhupada wanted his Srimad Bhagavatam to play a role in his mission. Prabhupada has established this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We have devotees from all parts of the world, so people with different nationality coming with different cultural background, irrespective of what they are, what is their culture. But Srila Prabhupada actually wanted to bring everybody under one umbrella, that is the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the ideology. I am saying that the need is felt by great thinkers to make this successful ideology and to make the whole world one state. Yes, this is possible under the leadership of this Krishna consciousness movement, because we don't have any other separate desire other than desire to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that desire can be fructified, can be reflected in the lives of the different devotees in our society if we all agree upon following the Bhagavata principles which are taught to us through Bhaktivedanta purports. So definitely we are not here to have such an ambitious vision as Prabhupada has, but I would say at least those devotees who have joined in the systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam, we will be very much encouraged to see that we all are coming with the same mood, same understanding, that conclusive thought which is flowing through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And at least we can form a small team to perfect our human mission through the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is what my mood is behind studying this program. So Prabhupada has a great desire that he's saying Next paragraph. There is need of a clue as to how humanity can become one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with a common cause. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need, for this is a cultural presentation for the spiritualization of the entire human society. Wow! Just imagine, Prabhupada is just pouring out this nectar. What he's thinking, for the re-spiritualization of entire human society. He's not thinking of people who are coming from India. He's not thinking of people who are, coming from a particular culture. No, he's just saying that, this is the guide. Srimad Bhagavatam is the guide how we can spiritualize the entire human civilization. Therefore, he is speaking that, Kaumaram Achat Prajna. When I was reading this, I was thinking, this is a task for some of you. I don't know, maybe some of you are inclined or you have that kind of, creativity in you. What we can do is, we are all adults, we are dedicating our time to study this Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe some of you who are inclined to create some good sketch for the children. Maybe you all have children because we have all like grahasthas. And we can create a small team, small group, and we can encourage our children to learn what you are learning. I can help you to give some kind of guidance in terms of what exactly I want is whatever philosophy you're going to learn. If you are a sketcher, you know how to draw some sketch where the children can click, they will take the next. In that way they will learn the entire philosophy. For example, today we're going to discuss from text number 1. uh, Krishna is the absolute truth, is established. How Krishna is Param Brahma, Parameswaram. He is the object of meditation. And if you can put into graphics, those are graphic designers, they can do it. If any one of you would like to take up this task, then what we can do is we can at least circulate amongst our children who are in this team to learn this philosophy in a very playful manner. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, Kaumaram Achat Prajna. If you see, this Srimad Bhagavatam should be introduced in the school and colleges, he is saying. Of course, we don't have the authority to introduce the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam in the school and colleges, but we can, if produce some sketches in this group, and we can at least teach our children, that would be so wonderful. Anyway, this is a kind of food for thought. If any one of you would like to take this task, if you are a graphic designer, you have some kind of skill, or somebody might help us, I will definitely give a very systematic approach, and I will try to share the slides with you. Just what you need to do is you need to spend some time, meditate upon it, and all good. Okay. Priya, Jaktani, welcome,
Yes,
welcome. Thank you. Thank
Krishna
you.
Prabhuji. Yes, I'm looking forward to do that because I already have that in mind. I'm not a graphic designer, but I have a desire, dream to make animated videos of Srimad Bhagavatam verses. Yes, Prabhuji.
Great. Mataji, I am there to support you with all the kind of necessary, I would say, understanding.
Yes,
And our Prabhu is there also. Radha Madhav. Sri Radha Madhav is also there. Yes.
Haripur.
Okay. My dear devotees, it's a great success. I'm very happy. So what
Yes,
we can do is we can create a good team. Those who are inclined, I'm not demanding, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not demanding. Those who are inclined to work on this project, because we want to help. Why we are studying? We want to help. So then you can formulate a team. So I, since Priya Mataji, what is her name? Say again, I forgot your name.
Priya.
Priya, I can tell Priya? Okay. So this Priya Mataji, let her take, oh, Sitala Madhavi, Sitala Madhavi, she also wants to join. Good. She's also very good. I know, many of you. Okay, so I'll not take much of your time right now. My job is done. So after class is completed, I would like you to form your team, and separately we'll have a separate group, And then whatever we create, we will contribute to the entire team, and we can advertise it to the rest of the world community, children community.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Like kind of be part of this program. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So Srila Prabhupada wanted this to be introduced in the school and colleges. At least we are trying to introduce in our group for our children. Okay, thank you. So Sarvabhavana Prabhu is also ready to join the group. Then Srila Prabhupada is speaking in the preface. Few more points I would like to bring it to your attention. Is saying Srimad Bhagavatam is a transcendental science, not only for knowing the ultimate source of everything, but also for knowing our relation with Him and our duty towards perfection of the human society on the basis of this perfect knowledge. Wow! That means you can get love of Godhead. Huh? That is what we are very much inclined to teach you through the systematic study. And then Prabhupada also speaking about the devotees. Actually, he's preparing the mindset of the readers who are reading, agreeing to study this great book of transcendental knowledge is to proceed step by step, cautiously, and not jump forward haphazardly, like with an ordinary book. Just imagine. That is why I have taken this approach. Okay? Prabhupada is saying cautiously and not jump forward haphazardly. Proceed step by step. Many of us do study Bhagavatam, but we just for the sake of studying. We don't understand the mood behind what Prabhupada wants. You should read every verse, every translation, every purport, thoroughly understand. This is the meaning of step by step. And he's saying, in the next paragraph, he's saying, one will be unable to capture the effects of the 10th canto without going through the first 9 cantos. The book is complete in 12 cantos, each independent, but it is good for all to read them in small installments, one after another. This is the approach I am taking. Yes, we are taking small installments. Every week we'll spend this 1.5 hour time. We'll try to cover whatever in a very systematic manner, thoroughly, so that Prabhupada's blessing is there with us. Why I am taking this approach is sometimes people say, oh, just read through every day 50 pages, then in 1 year time you are done with studying, completing Bhagavatam reading. What is this? Of course, you can do that. I'm not against that, but my mood is a little different. That um, Bhagavatam studies should be our lifelong program. Means my entire life should be with Srimad Bhagavatam. That means if by systematic studying, step by step, in small installments, I can, arouse taste in me, then my life is done. One day maybe this study group will not be there, but still we will be able to continue because I have got the test for Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyway, so this is what we have planned to. And those who will be thinking, oh, Prabhu, we are going very slow. Maybe I was expecting to complete very quick. Remember this point. So we will be going step by step in a small installment. And whatever we will cover, we will try to understand everything thoroughly as far as possible. So in that way, Srila Prabhupada is speaking that in the uh, introduction part, I'll read one paragraph. The Srimad Bhagavatam, this is in page number 3. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of Krsna, the absolute personality of Godhead, of whom we have preliminary information from the text of the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said that anyone, regardless of what he is, who is well versed in the science of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita can become an authorized preacher or preceptor in the science of Krishna. There is a need for the science of Krishna in humanity for the good of all suffering humanity of the world. And we simply request the leaders of all nations to pick up these signs of Krishna for their own good, for the good of society, and for the good of all the world's people.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, your voice is breaking down. We could not hear properly, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, actually, it is very clear, Mataji. I don't think so. Network is some disturbance. Your network is in some disturbance. But
So
everything is clear.
Oh, clear to you all? Okay, maybe at your end, Mataji, you can check your internet connection.
It's quite clear, Prabhu.
Okay, good. Thank you. So here you can see Prabhupada is offering this benediction. Those who are coming with sincere desire to lead their dependent members in the science of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is giving his blessing that we simply request the leaders of all nations to pick up these signs of Krishna for their own good, for the good of society, and for the good of all the world's people. So with this, I would conclude my discussion about Prabhupada's mood and mission behind Srimad Bhagavatam study. So now we're going to start discussing from the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the subject matter of discussion for today. So, as you know, Srila Vyasadeva, before compiling Srimad Bhagavatam, he divided four Vedas and he compiled Puranas, Itihasas, but he was not satisfied. Upon the request of his spiritual master, Narad Muni, he undertook the work of compiling Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a description of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Because Narad Muni had told him, in the name of spirituality, whatever compilation you have done in Puranas, Itihasas, you have just simply encouraged people for sense gratification in the name of spirituality. Therefore, now there is a great need for you to sufficiently glorify the personality of Godhead by describing his wonderful qualities in Srimad Bhagavatam, which will purify and satisfy the soul completely. Being ordered by his spiritual master, Vyasadeva, he compiles Srimad Bhagavatam. And as we know, before he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, he chanted Mangalacharan prayer. Because Mangalacharan is chanted to eradicate the obstacle that one may face on his great work. So, before writing Srimad Bhagavatam, before compiling Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the glorification about the personality of Godhead, he is now in first verse going to chant this Mangalachan prayer and meditate upon the personality of Godhead. So, first I'll just chant the verse for you. Questions, chapter 1, questions by the sages, text number 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Jatonyayaditaratas Charthe Swara Tene Brahmadidaya Adikavaye Muihanti Varimridam Yatha Nimoyo Yatra Trisargo Misha Dhamna Pena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So in this verse, Srila Vyasadeva, he has established the absolute truth. So when we are studying, as I said, this is a systematic study. So in the systematic study, if we know what is the context we are kind of going through. Oh, sorry, not this one. Sorry. Then it will be helpful for us. So now I will share this slide for you so that you know what is the thread behind my discussion to this verse. What is the theme of this verse and what actually we are intending to know while discussing from this verse. So the question is, in your own words, explain how in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, Srila Vyasadeva establishes Krishna as the absolute truth with reference to the Swarupa and Tatastha Lakshana. Prabhupada's comments, examples, specific Sanskrit words, and supportive verses from Bhagavad Gita, and refute common misconceptions about God in the light of the philosophy presented in the same verse. Also establish the authenticity of Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you have this question in your mind, then you are reading Prabhupada's purport. You can very clearly understand this verse. So, first of all, by taking to the different sections, Sanskrit sections of this verse, we will try to understand the absolute truth, which is explained by Srila Vyasadeva. So, here, Mangalacharana has got three components. One is called Vastu Nirdesh, Ashirvad, and Namaskar. Vastu Nirdesh is defining the objective, and Ashirvad is offering benediction, and Namaskar is obeisances. So here in this verse, you can see Srila Vyasadeva says the main line in this verse is Satyam Param Dhimahi. I meditate. I offer my respectful obeisance to Param Satya, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva. Okay, so now in this book also he is going to define the objective, that is Krishna, who is the absolute truth. How he is going to explain? So I said we have to explain this in terms of Swarupa and Tatastha Lakshana. So now in Mahaprabhu's instruction to Sanatana Goswami, where he explains about the science of the absolute truth, that is found in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20, 356, verse number 356. This verse is explained. Swarupa Lakshan or Tatastha Lakshan, ei dui lakshane vastu jane manika. So one can understand any object by studying two characteristics, that is personal characteristics and marginal characteristics. Those who have completed Bhakti Shastri, you are quite aware of this fact, because this verse, Anya Vilasita Sunyam, it has got also two characteristics, Swarupa Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. Similarly, in this verse, uh, there are two characteristics of the absolute truth being explained. When we understand these two characteristics, that will help us to understand the absolute truth. It's coming. Why this is coming here? Huh? Somebody's? Who is that? So there are two characteristics. Akriti, Prakriti Swarup, Swarupa Lakshan, Karya Dwara Gyan A Tatastha Lakshan. So here, some of you may not know what is Swarupa Lakshana and what is Tatastha Lakshana. I wanted to explain to you about this. Akriti, Prakriti Swarup, Swarupa Lakshana. So the bodily features is nature, form, and personal characteristics. These are the personal characteristics. Then Karya Dwara Gyan. His activities provides marginal characteristics. That means when we discuss this first verse, we will be discussing about the bodily feature and nature of the absolute truth, which provides about his personal characteristics. And then when you study about his activities, that provides the Tatastha Lakshana, marginal characteristic. So to give you a proper understanding about this, if you see this picture, in this case, we are presenting three images. There is an image of a dog, image of a buffalo, and image of a cow. So if we say, cow is recognized by its personal characteristics, Swarupa Lakshana. What is that? Cow has the horn. At the same time, cow has dewlap. That the skin which is hanging from his mouth to the front leg, you can see. And in case of buffalo, even if it has a horn, but it does not have a dewlap like a cow. In case of the dog, it may have to some extent the dewlap, but not actually like the cow, but it does not have a horn. So it's like specific characteristic that goes with that object, which speaks about the personality. That is the Swarupa Lakshana, that is the personal characteristics. Okay, so in this connection, for example, we can take an example. If you go to a Pandit's house, Pandit means one who is a very learned person. And when you go there, maybe he is working in the garden, but you have not seen this person. And when you went there, you saw this man is working in the garden. That is actually not his Swarupa Lakshana, because you want to meet the Pandit. When the Pandita are going to speak, then you know, oh, that is his Swarupa Lakshana. But the working in the garden is like Tatastha Lakshana. That is his Karya, he is doing externally. Okay, to give you some more understanding about the marginal characteristics, Tatastha Lakshana. Here we say, maybe you are walking from a distant place and you ask your friend I want to go to Devadatta's house. Then the gentleman on the street, he says, if you ask the gentleman on the street that where is the house of Devadatta, he says you can see the house on top of which the crow is sitting. So this is a Tatastha Lakshana. So the activity of sitting crow, the activity of sitting crow on top of the building provides marginal characteristics for the identification of the house of Devadatta. So similarly, in discussing this verse, we look at the marginal characteristic and personal characteristics of the Absolute Truth in terms of his Swarupa and activity, so that we understand this verse is speaking about the Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead, Krishna, son of Vasudeva. So here, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, भागवता रंभे व्यास मंगलाचरणे परमेश्वर निरूपिल এই দুই লক্ষণে. By studying these two characteristics, Srila Vyasadeva has established Parameshwara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay? And how did he do that? Now we are going to the main verse. Here it is said, Satyam Shabde Kahe Tar Swarupa Lakshan. The word Satyam indicates his personal characteristics. Satyam means actually Param Satyam. How? He explains. Then the Tatastha Lakshana is Vishwa Srishtyadi Kaila Ved Brahma ke Padhaila Artha Vignata Swarup Shakti Maya Dura Kaila. See, I am giving you this fundamental understanding from Chaitanya Charitamrita to get a clear picture about the philosophy that have been explained in this verse. And then when we read Prabhupada's purports, in a very short time, you will be able to catch this entire Siddhanta, my dear devotees. Okay? So, in the verse, it is said, Satyam Param Dhimahi. Satyam Param Dhimahi, that speaks about this Swarupa. Then Janmadyasya Jatanmayaditarata Startheshu Abhigya Swarat Tene Brahma Hidaya Adi Kavaye Muhanti Yatsuraya Tejo Bari Mridam Jatha Vinimaya Atra Trisargam Risha Dhamna Shrena Sada Nirastha Puhakam. This provides Tatastha Lakshana. Okay? The marginal characteristics. So, therefore, this now we can start discussing. Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, for convenience sake, I have kept everybody. Can you mute yourself, my dear devotees? Some noise is being created. If you are not muting, it's creating disturbance. Okay. Okay, thank you. So now, we are going to discuss about this Swarupa Lakshana. In this verse, Aishloke, Param Sabde Krishna Nirvana. So in this invocation from Srimad Bhagavatam, the word Param indicates Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How? Like Srila Prabhupada, he is explaining the word Param means Parameswaram. In Prabhupada's purport, he is speaking about Parameshwar. How? Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram Tam Devatanam Paramam Sadaivatam. This is coming from Shruti, And Srila Prabhupada has explained this in his report. Now I am going to ask you, can somebody read from this slide? One devotee can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Param Parameshwaram. Another name of God is Asamodva, which means that no one is equal to or greater than him. Param Satyam, or the supreme truth, is he who has no equal or superior. This is confirmed in the Shruti mantras. It is said that before the creation of the material universe, there existed the Lord only, who is the master of everyone. 3 Satyam, 10.2.26, 1.1.1 purport. Natat shamascha drishyate. No one is greater than him or equal to him. Analogy: God is greater because he can create machines in duplicate male and female forms. 1.1.1 purport.
See, Srila Prabhupada is establishing Krishna being Parameshwaram. This is his personal characteristics. How? He is saying that nobody is equal to him or better than him. And explaining this, Prabhupada, in the beginning of the purport, he explains about how Krishna is son of Vasudeva. And he is called Vasudeva. Vasudeva conception means all pervading. And also another meaning is that all inclusive. In explaining in the first paragraph, Prabhupada is speaking like when Krishna, he comes as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, all other incarnations are included in him. Therefore, nobody is greater than or equal to him. Not that samastabhyadikastra drishyate. No one is greater than him or equal to him. This is how the Parameshwaratvam, the supreme authority, the absolute truth about Krishna is being established by Prabhupada's purports. And to explain this, he is giving an example, an analogy. How, for example, Prabhupada is speaking, I can read from the book so that, okay, I'll read from the book. If you see page number 50 in my book, I don't know what is the page number in your book. Towards the end of the purport, this is second, third, fourth last paragraph, which begins with, that is the Supreme Lord. In that purport, Prabhupada is saying, I can continue. That is the Supreme Lord is all perfect, is confirmed in all Shruti mantras. It is said in the Shruti mantras that the all perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. The living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and he impregnates the first material creation, the vast material creation, with seeds of spiritual sparks. And thus, the creative energies are set in motion to enact so many wonderful creations. An atheist may argue that God is no better, no more expert than a watchmaker. But of course, God is greater because he can create machines in duplicate male and female forms. The male and female forms of different types of machineries go on producing innumerable similar machines without God's further attention. If a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, then he could approach the intelligence of God. So from this analogy, Prabhupada is establishing Krishna being Parameshwaran, that nobody is equal to him or even greater than him. See, such a wonderful analogy Prabhupada has established. Krishna can produce machines like male and female, which can keep on producing similar type of machine without God's intervention. Wow! Therefore he is Parameshwaran. Nobody is greater than. So here, having established Krishna as Parameshwaran, then now further he is speaking that we're going to discuss about, because he is Param Satyam, therefore whatever we see in this material world appears to be reality, because it has a connection. The truth, what we see in this world, that is relative, means the truth is dependent on the absolute truth. The example have been given. Tejo vari mridam jatha vinimayo. One is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Okay, so the example is mirage in the desert. When we are traveling in the desert, especially those who are from the Middle East, they have this better understanding. From the distant place, you find there's water on the road, but actually there is no water. Similarly, we have seen, like when you are flying on the sky, and maybe you are flying over the ocean, and you see the water is seen like a blue stone, but it's actually water. What happened to Duryodhan? Duryodhan, when he entered into the palace which was created by Mayadana for the Pandavas, and he was confused. He was thinking land like water, or water. He was seeing water in the land and land in the water. So these are the illusory representations. So why this thing? It is appearing factual, even though this is unreal. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. Means the real truth is existing in the spiritual world, and this material world is a reflection. Therefore, it is actually like reality. Krishna is the best about it. Krishna, he is supporting everything, right? Even though he's supporting everything, because Krishna is the support, everything is sustained in Krishna's energy, and Krishna is the absolute truth. Therefore, the things in this material world appears to be reality. Okay? And Prabhupada is speaking about this absolute and relative truth in the purport. Sri Vyasadeva says herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifested energy in the form of material existence is only temporary and illusory, like the mirage in the desert. In the desert mirage, there is no actual water. There is only the appearance of water. Real water is somewhere else. The manifested cosmic manifestation. But the reality of which is but a shadow is in the spiritual world. Absolute truth is in the spiritual sky, not the material sky. In the material sky, everything is relative truth. That is to say, one truth depends on something else. So Prabhupada keeps on describing on. So this is the point we wanted to say. The truth, what we see in the material world, appears to be real because it is dependent on the absolute truth from the spiritual world. For example, like we are creating so many buildings. These are all appears to be real, but their reality is dependent on Krishna. Why? Krishna says, these are his energies, and Shakti, Shakti Matayor Abheda. There is no difference between energy and energetic. So these earth, water, fire, etc., being the energy of the Supreme Lord, who is the absolute truth. Therefore, the manifestations of this material world are also appearing as a reality because of its connection. It is connected with Krishna's energy. So in that way, Prabhupada is saying it is relative in this world. Then he goes on describing about, okay, if somebody says that the creation in this material world, which is happening by the intuition of the three modes of material nature, and everything is being conditioned, contaminated. So if it is sustained by Krishna, then Krishna must be conditioned by illusion, right? No, Krishna is not conditioned by the illusion. Even though Krishna is acting as the Adhara, and he is sustaining everything, but he is not contaminated, he is not conditioned by the illusory effect of the interaction of the three modes of material nature. Therefore, Siddhar Swami says, Svenaiva Dhamna Mahasha Nirastam Kuhakam Kapatam Maya Laksham Jasmin Tam. That means by his splendor, illusion is eradicated. In other words, Maya cannot contaminate him. So this is why he's saying Dhamna Shvena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. And it is explained that even though he is holding everything, how? Entering into everything in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying Gam Avishacha Bhutananda. So in that way, he is supporting all beings. He is not contaminated. We should understand Krishna is not contaminated. And the absolute and relative truth again explained about the relationship in this material world, which is based on the material sex life, appears to be real because there is reality on the absolute truth. So Prabhupada explains that in the purport. When you find time, you can read or you can see the slides. Now, we are going to discuss about the Tatastha Lakshana, the marginal symptoms. So the marginal symptoms is Karya Dwara Gyan Ei Tatastha Lakshana. His activities provides the information about marginal characteristics. What are those? Starting with Janmadashrata, ending with Nastakuhakam. So here, the Tatastha Lakshana Janma Dyasya Jataha. He is saying, I meditate upon the Lord, Sri Krishna, who is Parameswaram, is already established before, the primeval cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universe. Janma Adi. Janma, when it says Adi, Janma means creation, Adi refers to sustenance and annihilation. So, these have been explained by the example of gold necklace. Krishna being the material and efficient cause, he is Nimitta Karan and Upadan Karan. How? Just like you can see here in the gold necklace, the quality of gold is there. So Prabhupada is explaining this point in the purport. If you read, because I think, okay, if you read in your book, it's in page number 47, where he is explaining this. 48. 48. Yeah. He is compared to a mine of gold. And cosmic creation is in so many different forms are compared to objects made from the gold. So everything is coming from him in that way. Such as gold rings, necklaces, and so on. The gold ring and the gold necklace are qualitatively one with the gold. So what we see, the quality of this creation is uh, non-different from the creator. Therefore, the absolute truth is simultaneously one and different. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth, but at the same time, nothing is independent of the absolute truth. So because he being the creator, so everything is coming from him. That's how it's explained that Janma, Jasya, Ijata, and Anvayat, Itara. So if you say this, here, one point we want to take into your attention that these those who follow this Mimamsa philosophy, for them they say everything is eternal. Here we are saying Krsna is the creator, then Madhyasya is the creator, maintainer, and annihilator. But according to Mimamsa philosophers, they say no, this world is eternally existing. It's not that it is created by a creator. Mimamsa philosophers, they don't accept this. They say everything is eternal. But to defeat their philosophy, Prabhupada taking the example of scientists control space satellite. So this space satellite was created by the scientist sometime and it was placed in the space. If somebody just sees today, oh, there is a satellite, it is eternal. No, it is not eternal. So the philosophy is anything has a form created by somebody at certain time. You cannot prove any object having a form was not created by anyone. And this philosophy is established and accepted by everybody. So because the satellite which is floating in the space has a form, this confirms that it is created by somebody. That's why it has a link, it has a connection with the scientist who is controlling it also. He has created it, he has placed it in the space, and he is controlling it. Similarly, this material world is created by God at a time. Sometime it was created, and it is being controlled by him. Therefore, so this analogy, which is presented in page number 45, that defeats this Mimamsa philosophers approach that creation is eternal. There is no creator. No, there is creator. Okay. Then the next. Anvayat itarata cha artheshu abhigya swarat. The Lord knows everything directly and indirectly, and he is cognizant of all minute details and is fully independent. That have been explained by the example of a chief engineer. A chief executive engineer may not be necessarily going to the working field all the time. Even though he's sitting in his office, he is perfectly aware of all the construction work that is happening under his direction. So the chief engineer of a complicated construction knows everything about the construction, both directly and indirectly. This gives the analogy or understanding about that this is the logical reason for being primeval primeval cause of all causes. He's sitting somewhere and he's controlling, even though our plant material senses cannot reach him. So that is why he directly and indirectly in control of everything. So there are some others, the Sankhyites, they accept material nature is the creator. So somebody may ask to Vyasadeva, oh my dear Vyasadeva, when you say Satyam Param Dhimahi, are you meditating on material nature, which is the cause of creation? Vyasadeva says, no, I am not. Then who are you meditating upon? Srila Prabhupada writes, the materialist wrongly thinks that there is no creator other than his own self. Means they say this is called Maya or illusion. Because of his poor fund of knowledge, the materialist cannot see beyond the purview of his imperfect senses, and thus he thinks that matter automatically takes its own shape. The Prakriti is the creator. Matter automatically takes its own shape without the aid of superior intelligence. And this is refuted in the sloka by Srila Vyasadeva. Since the complete whole or the absolute truth is the source of everything, nothing can be independent of the body of the absolute truth. Here it is said, my dear devotee, can you mute yourself? Hare Krishna Mataji, please mute yourself. Dear devotee, kindly help me, cooperate with me. Okay? So we know from Bhagavad Gita, material nature is working under Krishna's direction, Maya, Dakshana, Prakriti. Therefore, Prakriti is not the creator. So, are you meditating on Jiva? Sometimes some say, there are some powerful living entities. Are they creator? No, they cannot be Avijja and Swarat. This Avijja and Swarat is applicable to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Prabhupada in one of his lectures is speaking. So, I am conscious to a certain extent only, not fully. I am not Avijja. I am not very expert. These are simple truths, but these rascals are claiming that I am God. God is not only conscious. He is Avijna, very expert, knows everything and Swarat. So this explains Krishna being Avijna and Swarat. He is the creator. He knows everything. Means when he creates, he impregnates the living entity. At that time, he knows that what is going to happen to that particular jiva in different life situations. In which situation he must be born, and afterwards, what are the consequences he going to face with this body is everything predestined by the Supreme Lord. He is Avijna and he is Swarat. Swarat means he is only under his own Swarpa Shakti, Swarpa Shakti Rasahaya. He is not dependent on anyone. So Prabhupada in the purport, he is speaking that there are some Mayavadi sadhus who claim to be God, but to construct a monastery, they depend on others. And here he is speaking the example, giving the example of Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, the atheists, had to undergo severe penances before they could flout the authority of the Lord. But ultimately, they were rendered helpless and could not save themselves. So in that way, they are not Swarat. What a great powerful entity he may be. So that means here Vyasadeva is telling that, no, I am not meditating on any so-called jiva who claim themselves to be God, because only this principle of being Abhigya and Swarat is applicable to Krishna, not to any other. That's why Prabhupada gave the example of Mayavadi, who are trying to erect a monastery. They need the help of other people. Even persons like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, they are also destroyed by Krishna. Therefore, he is meditating on Krishna. So, are you meditating on Brahma? Some say Brahma is the creator. No, he is saying, no, I am not meditating on Brahma. What? Tene Brahma Hidaja Adikavai. He actually impregnated this Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahma. Therefore, Brahma cannot be creator. Or somebody may say, no, I have never seen that Brahma went to any school. Have you heard that Brahma went to some school with books and he learned this knowledge? Maybe he got it, like today night to night, you go to sleep and you forget everything, right? During sleep. The next morning when you wake up, you know exactly where to start, what to do. So Brahma could be like that, No. Actually, Brahma was impregnated with this knowledge through Krishna's meditation. Named Brahma Hidaya Adikave. That's therefore, while chanting Mangalachan prayer, Srila Sukadev Goswami in the second canto, he says, Chodita Pura Saraswati. Actually, this Saraswati was awakened in the heart of Brahma, and the knowledge was revealed to him by Krishna. Therefore, he was able to create. So, in that way, he is the Supreme Lord. And what is his now situation? Dhamna Shriyana Sadhana. By the influence of his personal energy, the illusory energy is separated. Another thing also, the Lord can provide moksha to the living entities. The Lord is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. So this illusory potency in the living entities can be eradicated by the Lord himself. Therefore, we can see that we, being the conditioned souls, we are being cleansed up by the mercy of Krishna. And that is also one of his activities that provides his Tatastha Lakshana. The Lord is obtained only by one whom he chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. Okay, so now the relationship between Srimad Bhagavatam and Gayatri Mantra. So this Gayatri Mantra reveals the knowledge, the intelligence, and the way of behavior. Actually, it is said that this Satyam Param Dhimahi, this Dhimahi is actually Gayatri Mantra. Those who are advanced in spiritual life, when they chant this Gayatri Mantra, the intelligence is awakened in them. Like we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, in the 10th chapter, he is saying, Buddhi Jnanam Asammoha Shama Satya Dhamma Shama Sukham Dukkham Bhavo Bhavu Bhyam Cha Bhyamevacha Ahimsa Samata Tusti Dhanam Himsatum Satum Tusti Tapo Dhanam Jasojasa Bhavanti Bhava Bhutanam Matteva Vitabuddha. All these qualities are created by me. So by chanting this Gayatri Mantra, the spiritual intelligence is awakened by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, those who are spiritually advanced, they chant this Gayatri mantra by which they meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the God of creator, maintainer, and annihilator of the cosmos, and who is giving the spiritual intelligence to the sadhakas who can know him. So, in that way, there is a relationship by the word he, this Srimad Bhagavatam is therefore the transcendental subject matter. This Gayatri mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people who, when one is successful in chanting Gayatri mantra, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must therefore require Brahmanical qualification or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully, and then attain to the stage of transcendentally realizing the Lord, His name, His fame, His qualities, and so on. So, now, last point was authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada explains by taking the reference from uh, different Puranas like Padma Puran and Matsya Puran, which speaks about that this literature which speaks about the Vritrasura. The story of Vritrasura is there, that's Srimad Bhagavatam, and also other Puranas they explain that is that literature which contains 18,000 verses, that is Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuranam. And of course, we have seen from the discussion between this first sloka of the Bhagavatam begins with the Gayatri Mantra. There is reference to this in the Matsya Purana, which is the oldest Purana. In that Purana, it is said about the Bhagavatam that in it there are many narrations of spiritual instructions. That is, begins with the Gayatri Mantra. So, in that way, this speaks us about the authenticity of Srimad Bhagavatam. Not that some people say Bhagavatam is compiled by someone by the name Bhupadev. No, that is mistaken understanding. So in that way, when we understand this Srimad Bhagavatam by reading Prabhupada's purport, we get the reference from different literature by which we can establish that this Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami, is the subject matter of discussion for all the people of this age of Kali who desire liberation from this material world. Okay, so in brief, we have tried to complete the narration of this first verse, where by taking the examples and different Sanskrit texts from first verse, we have established on the study of Sarupa and Tatastha Lakshana, Krsna is the absolute truth, and also we looked into the philosophical explanation of the Mimamsakas, the Sankhyaites, and we established that Krsna is the subject matter of meditation for Vyasadeva. And also at the end, we looked at the references from different Puranas like Padma Puran and Agni Puran and established the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam